They brought it with the celebration.
Cold and windy from Greensboro, but a big day of football on the way as we welcome you to ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. First place in the MEAC hanging in the balance today as North Carolina A&T and Bethune-Cookman are fighting for the driver's seat for the rest of the season on the road to the Celebration Bowl. Both teams looking to rebound after ugly losses to one-win conference opponents. North Carolina A&T was tripped up by Morgan State for the second year in a row. They had a chance to control their own destiny. They'll have to do some work here today. Meanwhile, Bethune-Cookman just could not get it going, especially on offense against Delaware State. They lose on the road. As we say hello and welcome in with the former Howard University and NFL quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Tiffany Green. So much at stake today. It's so important for both of these teams. What can we expect to see in their bounce back?
They need to learn a lesson from last week and put it all on the line. The lesson learned from last week, your best players have to get involved in a football game. This part of the season, you need to rely on the star power that you have. A&T's got the best running back in the country. Bethune-Cookman has the fastest quarterback in the conference. Expect for the playmakers to touch the ball often if you want to have a chance of keeping your season going.
We talked about just how important this game is. It is critical at this point of the season if they want to have any hopes at the Celebration Bowl. North Carolina A&T in the best position. If they win both games, they will go to a third consecutive Celebration Bowl. Meanwhile, Bethune-Cookman needs some help. They need to win today and next weekend at the Florida Classic and also get a little help from South Carolina State, who is also in the picture in this three-man race here for the MEAC title. And, of course, to be able to play in the Black College Football National Championship, it is about to go down from Greensboro. Come back with us.
Do not get comfortable. Do not get comfortable. You're going to have to be uncomfortable today. It's going to be a lot of highs. It's going to be a lot of lows in this game. I promise you. I promise you. But if something good happens, keep playing. I'm going to say it again. If something good happens, keep playing. If something bad happens, keep playing. Keep playing for 60 minutes or however long it takes. It don't matter. Make sure we the last man standing today. Make sure we the last ones off the field today. Leave it out there on the field. Yes, sir. Don't hold nothing back. It ain't no tomorrow. It ain't no tomorrow. Play for each other. Play for the Aggies on your chest. Play for the man beside you. Play for the ones who walked this ground before you.
An impassioned speech from Courtney Core, the defensive coordinator for head coach Sam Washington, and he will face off against a team that he's coached against, he's coached with, and now he will go head-to-head with Terry Sims, who has yet to notch a win against the Aggies in his 5 seasons with Bethune-Cookman. And
that's a surprising statistic there. Considering all the success that Bethune-Cookman's had in this conference for a while, they shared a number of championships, but that hurdle at hand is how do you beat North Carolina A&T, who's been the cream of the crop in the HBCU football world for the past 4 or 5 years.
Both teams coming in with matching records at 6-2 on the season, and when you look at a player like 6-3 rather, and when you look at a player like Jimmy Robinson, who is ultra electrifying, he is a guy who can hurt you in so many different ways on offense, on special teams, and he is back to receive the kick as A&T won the toss. They deferred, so Bethune-Cookman will get the ball first. And Jimmy Robinson brings it out. Robinson still on his feet just across the 25-yard line, and he's brought down near the 30. Keep an eye on number 1 in white all game long, Jay.
Yeah, that's their game plan. Get Jimmy Robinson involved. He's one of those playmakers that needs more touches. And with the quarterback, Akevis Williams, who we talked about a little bit, fastest guy on the field. We forget how fast Williams is. That's the size. He's a good dual-threat passer. But I think right now what they want him to do, run the football. Make them prove that they can catch you. Williams needs to stop worrying about throwing the football and be the player he is, which is running the ball first, throwing second.
He is their leading rusher, and his season ended last year against North Carolina A&T in Daytona Beach. He is back, rebounded from that knee injury, and has been a big boost for his group. But right now, they're keeping the ball on the ground. They decide to say, let's let Akevius Williams do a lot of the work, the heavy lifting, as he's done all season.
And this is what we talk about. He's got the ability to change direction so quickly. So nice job on the read, calling his own number, and watch the one cut. And this is a cornerback. Mac McCain was an All-American cornerback that he's beating to the corner. That shows the type of jets that Akevius Williams possesses.
505 yards total on the ground this season for Williams before that 12-yard pickup. And up front, we saw some movement from North Carolina A&T. Waiting for the call.
Start. Offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So Bethune-Cookman called for the penalty. Sam Washington is hoping his team can play as much mistake-free football as possible. They had 13 penalties in last week's loss against Morgan State.
That'll get you beaten. For those people that are saying, oh, it was an upset loss, I say not so fast. Morgan State beat them a season ago as well. A&T knew they were in for a tough job. They just did not rise to the occasion.
Ranked 25th in all of FCS as Sam Washington spends an early timeout, not even a minute into the ball game.
Yeah, the discipline not being prepared, and this is a key stretch. I give credit to Coach Washington. A season ago when we thought A&T was struggling when they lost to Florida A&M and Morgan State consecutive weeks, they still turned it around and made it to become Black College National Champions. They've got the same task in front of them now as you take a look at what they've done so far, but can they get the job done like they did a year ago?
Well, they started the year out strong with that win over Elon. They've been ranked in the FCS pretty much every week since then. This is a program that has seen so much success over time, and now Bethune-Cookman's going to try to move the ball against the best defense in the conference. On the carry is Isaac Washington. He's up ahead and stopped by Kion Howard. Howard, that middle linebacker position, who is a guy who's really come on as of late, Jay.
Oh, he's been a pleasant surprise for him. First-year starter Howard at the inside linebacker position. And when you play middle linebacker for North Carolina A&T, you are the run stopper. This is a stingy defense. They try to make you one-dimensional, and Howard's played well this season.
Trips to the bottom of your screen. Williams with time. Williams trying to go on the outside. A lot of contact there, and no penalty marker comes out as Mac McCain was covering Jonathan Thomas.
Yeah, I thought there should have been a penalty marker in terms of a defender being in the neutral zone across the line of scrimmage. And I thought that Williams felt like he was getting a free shot down the field. Let's take a look. You're going to see him jump. He was there. They snapped the ball in anticipation of a free play. Didn't get that call. Tough break for the Wildcats.
Now brings up 3rd and 12. Washington in the backfield with Williams. Stands back to pass. Rush out of the pocket. And just throws it away. So a missed opportunity there. And the Aggies defense holds as Leon Smalls was giving chase to Williams.
There's nowhere to go, and they have to do a better job of just holding their offensive line a little bit firmer. I thought against Delaware State, the Delaware State interior defensive lineman just wore out the interior lineman for Bethune-Cookman. And also, one thing we got to talk about, very windy here, extremely windy. So wind comes into play on long passes and on special teams, punt and kickoff. You have to field it cleanly, or else you're better off letting it bounce.
Bryce Cower, the Aussie punter for the Wildcats, collects it and is able to get it away. Hangs it up there in the air a little bit, and coming to collect that one is Corey Banks. Well, now we talked about Akevius Williams. These are two quarterbacks that have been in their programs for a long time. This is a 5-year player for North Carolina A&T and Khalil Carter.
Carter's been proven. I mean, he's proven that he's got ice in his veins. He can come off the bench and win a number of games like he did for the 4 years when he was backing up Lamar Raynard, who was the winningest quarterback in Aggie history. It's his senior year, his time to shine, and they're going to need him to be a dual threat today.
And Jermaine Martin on the first play on offense for the Aggies, trying to get it outside but unable to do so. You see the speed, though, of the defense for Bethune-Cookman.
You're going to try him, and you need to test him. And Jermaine Martin is the best player on the field right now. When he's there, he's that special a running back. He possesses that type of ability. That run there, it took 3 white jerseys to bring him down just to get him close to the line of scrimmage. Coach Washington said, we're going to force feed him today. I would make sure he got at least 25 carries on the day.
One of the top rushers in FCS. He gets the ball again. This time he's got a hole along the right side. Jermaine Martin, he's got the stride. Nobody in front of him but the end zone. The score for the Aggies.
Told you. That's all I'm going to say is I told you so.
You have to watch out for Jermaine Martin. 66 yards, and on the second play, the Aggies get on the board.
Bethune-Cookman known for being a speedy defense, but watch this. One crease, one step, and watch him outrun the white jerseys. Becomes a foot race versus him and Henry Miller, a cornerback, and he wins the foot race. That lets you know the type of speed that Martin possesses coming out of the backfield.
Well, he was held to just 80 yards all last week against Morgan State and collecting 66 in that yard run alone.
80 yards versus Morgan State, but he only has 16 carries. He was averaging 5 yards a carry. They didn't feed him enough. Coach Washington and offensive coordinator Chris Barnett learned the lesson, came out first 2 plays, got him the football.
Noel Ruiz on to attempt the extra point. And the junior kicker out of Wilson, North Carolina, pushes it to 7.
Jermaine catches you in a foot race. Great runners, when they see that goal line, oh yeah, they're going to finish off the run. It's 7-zip, Aggies.
Already starting out strong as the 25th ranked Aggies on top with 12:45 to go in the first quarter. Remember, both of these teams need to win out. For the Aggies, they have an opportunity to return to the Celebration Bowl if they can take care of business today and then next weekend against North Carolina Central. But a guy who can change the tide in this game and answer really quickly is standing back in Jimmy Robinson.
Be careful. Now that I have the lead, I don't know if I'm kicking the ball to Jimmy Robinson. I mean, Jimmy Robinson is a special return man, the best return specialist in the conference. Your team has a lead. Now I think you play a little bit more conservative and you start doing some directional kicks, and if you give him the ball on the 35-yard line going into the win, that's not the worst thing that can happen to you. But if you give Robinson a chance to hurt you, he can do it.
He's returned one against North Carolina Central already this season, but this goes into the end zone, and Jermaine Martin, they needed a big boost from him. Courtney Court said, yeah, we got to get the best from our big man.
We've been seeing Jermaine. We need big man today. We need big man today.
They called him out. And what do big name players do? Big game players show up in big games, big stage. Jermaine Martin giving his team the early lead. You like that. That's having a pulse of your team. You call out a player and he delivers. That's how you know your team's starting to click on all cylinders.
Play game. Offense. Number 10. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Jay, these are the penalties you can ill afford, the mistakes you don't want to make in a game as critical as this.
You're on the road. It's a conference opponent. You have so much riding on it. Every yard counts. Windy conditions could come down to a battle of field positions. You can't give away 5 yards with a delayed game penalty coming out of a break.
Quayshawn Bird in the backfield. He receives it and up to just about the original line of scrimmage. Terry Sims is going to need some impact players like Jimmy Robinson to step up for his group.
Get him the ball on offense. Bubble screens, jet sweeps. You have to do that. And we talked about Kyan Howard, the linebacker extraordinaire, but Mac McCain has to come up with some big plays in the secondary. He's an All-American cornerback. Been a little bit quiet this year. Time for him to step up in a big play situation.
Remember, he tore his ACL against Bethune-Cookman last year in Daytona. Quayshawn Bird and Akevius Williams on the carry. Amir McNeil is the guy who was really been the booster in the secondary, with McCain having an okay season.
Yeah, but they're so much more potent when they have McCain in the secondary. Let's not forget McCain was out of the game when they lost to Florida A&M in overtime, got ejected. I think that cost them that victory possibly. But in these situations now, I still look for Akevius Williams to run the football. If you find a running lane, take off. It's very windy, hard to complete passes.
3rd and 10, quickly out to Bird, and Bird not able to get it. That was a backwards pass.
Rolling on the field. It's a backward pass. Recovered by the defense. First down.
And just like that, A&T has terrific field position on the mistake from Williams.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this and take a look. He's about on the 17-yard line.
They're rolling on the field. It was a backward pass. The previous play was under review.
That's close, because you see how Bird turned his body around to try to go back. His momentum was leading him forward, but the pass was behind him.
Yep. And normally what they say is you have to be 100% sure it was a backwards pass, not just a lateral. Was it 100% sure it's a backwards pass? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was supposed to go down the line. The wind is blowing hard that way. The wind might have pushed that pass just that half a yard backwards. But even the case, if you're Bethune-Cookman, when it's close like that, you got to fall on the football. You have to fall on it.
And this has been an issue for the Wildcats over their last 4 meetings against A&T, turning the ball over. And Rick Warren will get some guidance from the replay official upstairs, but we'll hear from him right now.
After review, the rolling on the field of the backward pass is confirmed. First down.
And what a poor start there. And good job by Joseph Stuckey, recognizing, hey, that ball could be backwards. Did not hear a whistle. And the Aggies with great field position.
And you have an idea of who they will feed the ball to perhaps on this drive as well. Jermaine Martin with the 66-yard touchdown run, and they give it to number 30 in gray once more. This time he's brought down. A few white jerseys were around him. Among the first to get to him, Devin James.
And that's how they have to try and tackle him. But even if you hold him to just getting back to the line of scrimmage, that's not a lose situation for North Carolina A&T. You want to give him an opportunity to wear this defensive line down from Bethune-Cookman. Let's talk about Martin. He's got great vision, and he's a power back with speed, which is a unique combination.
He's a guy who can usually make the first defender miss. Corey Banks in motion, the handoff to Martin, going to the right side once more. This time he's hit hard by Jamari Laguerre and Tydarius Peters. So they were expecting him along the right side where he had that little crease on that last drive.
Yeah, they were running uphill, but he still picked up positive yardage. And you're starting to see Martin start to become that edge-of-your-seat type runner I always talk about. Whenever he has the football, you just kind of feel like he can break a big one. And every time he touches it, you feel like if there's a small crease, he can hurt you.
Well, he had 118 yards against the Wildcats last year. Remember, he's replacing Markel Cartwright, who was a terrific 1,000-yard rusher as well for the Aggies. 3rd and 7, and Carter looking for his man, and he delivers the bullet there. The catch is made by Quinzel Lockhart. The question is, how close is he to that first down marker?
Yeah, let's take a look. And nice short intermediate throw. Finds his tight end. It sets up big, but I think he's going to be a little bit short.
And now, Jay, they're bringing on the jumbo package, big number 46, William Simpson, on the field as it's 4th and 1.
Well, there's a timeout and a penalty. Terry Sims from Bethune-Cookman went to call a timeout.
Before the foul, timeout, Bethune. First charge, timeout. 30-second, timeout.
And Jay, now Bethune has a chance to make a big hold after that turnover on their last offensive possession. They started out the MEAC 4-0, and since then they've been slipped up the last 2 games.
When we saw them get out to that 4-0 start, some very close victories. They never played impressive football. They were playing well enough just to get those wins. Then they faced some adversity. South Carolina State went down there and beat them in Daytona, and they couldn't rebound from that with the loss last week, surprising loss against Delaware State.
On the other side, do you like this decision for A&T to go for it here?
Nope. I think they should kick the field goal. I mean, if they don't get this first down, then that big play turnover was all for naught. I think in this situation, you get an opportunity to put a team down by 2 scores, you take it. I know it's 4th and 1, you're tempted, but if Bethune-Cookman can make a stop, that's a huge play for them.
They're 3 for 4 on 4th downs, and they give it to Jermaine Martin. And Jermaine Martin, who surged ahead, looks like he maybe have gotten enough for first down, depending on the spot.
It depends on the spot again. Oh, they're going to give it to him. That's a quick one. He got the ball. Seemed like the first down marker was on the 4-yard line, and you saw the surge, but they bent him backwards. That close. That close to being a disastrous play for the A&T Aggies, but they picked it up nonetheless.
They get to the line quickly again. Martin this time, 1 man to beat, and he's in again. Jermaine Martin is putting A&T on his shoulders right now. He's carrying them on his back. They're up 13-0.
Watch the acceleration and then the spin move. With the contact, the spin off contact takes a licking, but it's after he's in the goal line. And the Aggies off to a good start, but look, he's starting to feel that hit. That was a big-time hit placed on him by Tadarius Peters, number 21. Not a good sign for North Carolina A&T.
Well, the Aggies take advantage of the Bethune-Cookman turnover. They gamble on 4th down, and they're up. But Jermaine Martin is hurt.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Well, anytime you're in town, you have to pay homage to the Greensboro 4 students at North Carolina A&T several years ago who made a huge impact and was integral in the civil rights movement. We thank them for what they did. Meanwhile, Jermaine Martin, who was banged up after that touchdown run, he ties now with Tariq Cohen for a single season record with 18 rushing touchdowns this season. We'll see if he will be able to come back into the game.
And keep in mind, he ties Cohen's record. He may break it today, and he's got another game next week. So, Tariq, you were a great one, but I think that record is gone, buddy.
On the return, here's Jimmy Robinson. Robinson is dragged down. But you go back to Jermaine Martin, and that will be something that we keep our eye on because he took a good hit here.
And you see it when it's slowed down. He's got the vision in the burst, but watch him get spun around and gets caught clean. That's a little bit of a helmet-to-helmet look that Peters might have got away with. And you can tell anytime as a running back you get up talking, that means the defensive back got the best of you. And I think in that case, Peters got him, and we saw Martin feel the effects of that once he got over to the sideline.
Bethune-Cookman has struggled in the first quarter. They've been outscored 60-26. How do they jumpstart it? Well, they hand it off to Isaac Washington for a solid carry on first down.
And the good thing about that, which is unfortunate, you know your team can come back and win because you're used to playing from behind. You know, giving up the lead in the first quarter. It's how much fight do they have against one of the premier programs in the country. You're not taking on some teams that are at the bottom of the conference. You're taking on one of the blue bloods at the top. And you got your work cut out for you down by 14 on the road.
Well, these two teams have won a ton of MEAC championships since 2000. It's her first half of the year or first part of the decade, it belonged to Bethune-Cookman. And now A&T is taking over. They're two-time defending MEAC champs. Akevius Williams on the run, but there's a penalty marker out back near the 27-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Remember I told you they struggle with their defensive line, their offensive line interior, particularly Cedric Jackson. He had a tough day at the office against Delaware State. Goes down, loses his footing, pulls him down. Tough break because he lost his footing, but he was grabbing, but he has to play better. He was one of the few guys I asked Coach, is he going to get it together? They need a better performance out of him, and he just cost his team with a holding penalty.
A&T with an injured player down. He's being assisted up. That's number 48, Stephen Davis, the son of the former Redskins running back Stephen Davis. Transferred in from South Carolina as he gets helped back. But you're in this situation, and you're Bethune-Cookman. You can ill afford to be down 14-0 against the two-time defending MEAC champs at this point.
Yeah, you have to play your best football. I think it's going to come down to Williams again. I like the decision he made where I'm going to take over the running game, and he's got the capability of breaking off a big run also.
Pulls it down, throws it, and completes the pass to Stephon Francois. That'll bring up 3rd and long. As in on the tackle was Najee Reams.
And you just kind of get the feeling right now the elements are getting to Bethune-Cookman. They look a little cold. Everybody's got on sleeves, just a little bit timid. The only person who seems like they've got a little pep in their step right now is Williams, the quarterback.
Remember, they were on the road at Del State, and perhaps the elements could have gotten to them there as well. This time you mentioned, Jay, today it's very windy outside. The handoff, and it's Isaac Washington trying to move some people out in front. A pickup of about 5. Well, that'll bring up 4th down, and the punting unit will trot onto the field again for the Wildcats.
And that just shows you why that holding penalty was so big, destructive against Bethune-Cookman. They were able to pick up some yardage on that 3 plays, but when you're operating 1st and 15, 1st and 20, tough to pick up a 1st down against this stingy Aggie defense.
Corey Banks standing inside his own 35-yard line.
Number 2, Corey Banks.
Banks holds on to it and is quickly brought down, met by Jimmy Robinson III, the brother of number 1 in white, Jimmy Robinson. Jermaine Martin, will we see him on the other side? All eyes on Jermaine Martin, 6 rushes, 72 yards, and the 2 touchdowns. And Sam Washington, the head coach, saying, look, let me just go check on my all-star running back, because a lot of attention being paid to him on the field and now on the sidelines.
Yeah, we're just speculating, but he took a hard hit, and, wonder, does he have a concussion at all? But we're just pure speculation, but what a performance from the All-American running back.
Khalil Carter on the carry. Tydarius Peters, who delivered the blow to Martin, also tackling Carter. In the backfield, replacing Jermaine Martin is Kashawn Baker. And Kashawn Baker, the senior out of Farmville, North Carolina, a little bit smaller than him, kind of puts you in the mindset of a Tariq Cohen in terms of stature.
5 feet 6 inches, 165 pounds. Changes the running game when he's in there. You have to run him off tackle, get him on the perimeter, not an in-between the tackle type runner.
He finds a little crease, and Baker's small scampers just near the 50-yard line as he's tripped up by Marquise Hendricks.
Wow, well, that's how you prove somebody wrong. Scout report says he runs off tackle, but watch him make himself small in between the tackles. Running hard, picks up big yardage for the Aggies.
Good for 18. Now at midfield, the Aggies decide to hand it off to him once more, continuing to find little holes. Hard to bring him down when you can't see that 5'6" stature.
Running behind his pads. Hard to find, averages 5 yards a carry. Baker's coming in and keeping up with the Aggie tradition of running the football against Bethune-Cookman.
34 yards on those 2 carries rather for Baker. They feed him once again, and this time he's brought down quickly by Marcus Ford.
One thing I like about Baker, it's so unique. Watch him when he gets in his 2-point stance. Running backs get 2-point stance. He's standing straight up. Like, he's only 5 feet 6 inches, so he's like, why go lower and go down to where I'm 5'2"? So look at that stance. He's standing straight up. He's ready. That's his ready position there. No knee bend. He's ready to go.
Whistle before the ball was snapped. Likely a false start.
False start. Offense, number 19. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
This is Baker's stance. He's ready. And, I'm watching tape of him. I'm like, was he not expecting to play? They're like, no, that's his stance. That's what he does. So when you're 5'6", you don't have room to spare to give up any inches. So,
but what he's doing is doing a good job of hiding behind that offensive line.
Look, it's going to be a good look. Yeah. He's ready.
And Carter follows him. Some room up ahead, just near the 30-yard line. Brought down by Hendricks once again.
And that's a good play call there. And you're going to see him now. What do you do when you're 5'6", 165, and they ask you to serve as a lead blocker? He's just looking for somebody. Lowers his shoulder, just get in the way.
But he does his job.
Sometimes you just got to shield him and get in the way.
6 yards to gain on 3rd down. Carter looking to the sideline and getting the play. He drops the ball, picks it up, and Carter wisely just tries to run straight ahead. And on that effort, it looks like he may have picked up the 1st down.
Wow, look at this. Man-to-man coverage, and against man-to-man coverage, nobody accounts for the quarterback. By the time they realize he has the ball, that's just a late reaction by Devin James, number 31. And not only is James a little late getting there, allows Carter to pick up the 1st down running through the tackle.
That was good for 6. Now 1st and 10. The toss to Baker. Baker stays ready. And he's brought down by Devontae Lawrence. Well, this is the sweet spot for A&T. They are 1st in the conference in the red zone, converting 89% of the time. But they're also going against the best red zone defense in the MEAC in Bethune-Cookman.
Just have to give credit to the offensive line for North Carolina A&T. They are controlling the line of scrimmage versus Bethune-Cookman defensive line.
The handoff to Baker. Baker trying to find a little space up the middle and really just nowhere to go as he was bottled up. Tony Bowman with the push up front. Number 91 in white for Bethune.
That's one of those times where you miss having the bigger back in the backfield. Martin, 215 pounds. Baker, 165.
They snap it quickly rather on 3rd and 1, and Carter lunging ahead. And it's good enough for another Aggie 1st down. Well, Khalil Carter is a big back himself, coming in at about 230.
Just taking the quarterback sneak, and when you're 230 pounds, you can slide down the line a little bit as long as you get those shoulders going north and south. Leans forward, and we've seen his size help him pick up a couple of 1st downs in this game thus far with that forward lean. Tough to stop.
Now 1st and 10 on the 15 of Bethune-Cookman, and the Wildcats able to wrap him up. Number 93, the true freshman Isaiah Jordan on the stop.
And I would say really impressed at the holes that this offensive line for North Carolina A&T is opening. And they've had some big holes where I thought Martin would have broke that last arm tackle, and guess who comes back in the game?
That's right.
Jermaine Martin, good sign for North Carolina A&T. See if he can keep up where he left off before he left the game.
Under a minute to go in the 1st quarter. The Aggies have made a living on the ground so far in this game. The handoff to Martin, trying to go outside, and he's wrapped up by Tydarius Peters. 17 carries, 136 yards for the Aggies so far on the ground.
They've been making a statement. Running the football, the offensive line rising to the occasion. Now when they've got the ball in these situations in the red zone, they like to find a one-on-one matchup for a jump ball situation with either Zachary Leslie or Elijah Bell on the outside.
Only one pass attempted so far, and Khalil Carter says, I'm just going to tuck it and run, and again, he's close to another first down. Well, Carter is giving them some different looks. Only one pass attempted, as we mentioned, as we move to the end of the first quarter. The Aggies are threatening. Jermaine Martin says, you asked me to carry the load. I got your back. He scored both touchdowns for A&T. They lead going into the second. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. The #1 rushing team in the conference is following suit of what they've done all season long. And in that first quarter, they had 18 rushing plays compared to just one. They're going for it on fourth down. Big William Simpson up the middle, and the touchdown!
I told Coach he's my favorite Aggie. Follow the football when William Simpson is in the game, either as a lead blocker. This time they reward him by giving him his 4th rushing attempt on the season.
Flags down after the touchdown from Simpson. 5th-year senior out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, who's already graduated.
Is it a celebration penalty? I don't think it's going to take a touchdown off the board. When you play fullback, that's what I want your helmet looking like.
Touchdown is good. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, fouls, offense, number 74 and number 55. That is their first of the game. Those fouls were for taunting. Both fouls will be forced on the kickoff.
Well, we just gave praise, Jay, to the offensive line, but DeJour Simpson and Dacre Wilson are the guilty parties.
I mean, they were feeling really good on the down block that they made, driving them into the end zone. That was a statement by North Carolina's A&T offensive line.
Well, they have controlled the line of scrimmage, as you've mentioned, and Noel Ruiz on, and it's blocked. It's blocked by Bethune-Cookman, and they have an opportunity to return it. Along the outside is Henry Miller.
Still on his feet.
And Henry Miller still going. And correction, that's Devontae Lawrence. Devontae Lawrence was the one who picked it up and returned it.
Maybe, just maybe. Low trajectory, nice job getting up in the air by Isaiah Jordan, number 93 on the block. And then we saw Lawrence try to turn into 2 points the other way.
Well, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as the live interview with the committee chair, Rob Mullins. But that may be what Bethune-Cookman needs, that block. How can they carry that over? Because they're going to have great field position here, Jay.
Yeah, they need something. You know, they need anything right now. We talked about how they've been outscored by so many points in the first quarter alone. Well, now they're in the second quarter. Maybe Coach Sims tells his squad, this is when we take over, down by 20. But as you mentioned, with A&T having to kick the ball into the wind and the taunting penalty as well, they're going to have really good field position. If Robinson can get any type of decent return, Bethune has an opportunity to get on the scoreboard.
Ruiz will be kicking from his own 10-yard line.
So they must have gotten hit with 2 penalties. There were 2 players called for taunting. So
both DeJour Simpson and Dacre Wilson.
The wind blows the ball off the tee again. I mean, this wind has been constant. And that's why North Carolina A&T's done a good job of running the football. Windy conditions, if you can run, you don't worry about the wind.
And it is howling here from BB&T Stadium. This one just a dribbler. Yep, man just falls on it and falls down. So that's where they'll start as Ontario Johnson from his linebacker position. He's not known for his hands. He just wanted to corral it.
But if you're going to field it, just look and get your 10 more yards. We talked about this is a game of field position, these conditions. He could have got the ball to the 35-yard line pretty easily. Playing a little bit conservative, I just thought that was a missed opportunity to pick up some more yardage that you may need.
So far, Bethune-Cookman has not been able to move the ball well at all on offense. Can they change that here in the second quarter? On the carry is Ladarian Williams, and he's met by Kyan Howard. Howard, that redshirt sophomore out of Greensboro, and he's a guy who is replacing Keandrick Richardson from last year. He's the one who quarterbacks that defense from his linebacker position.
The anchor against the run game on a defensive unit that only allows 81 yards rushing per game total.
Williams behind his man. The intended target was Darryl Powell. And now it's 3rd and 10. And we talked to the coaches this week, and Bethune-Cookman said, look, we have to get faster starts. We have to start stronger. And thus far, they have not been able to get out of first gear.
What you want and what you have are two different things. You want to get off to a fast start, but that just has not been their team all season long. It's late in the game, and they're trying to kickstart it, but just hasn't been the case. And I just think that they got them again here in Greensboro, coming out a little bit flat, and A&T has really put it on them pretty good.
The Aggies have won the last 4 matchups between the two as penalties fly out.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And the Wildcats just not helping themselves at all today.
The second time we've called Cedric Jackson for a penalty. And he needed to rebound after a tough game last week. Thought that he would rebound. Hasn't been the case thus far. 3rd and forever. I'm getting the ball to Jimmy Robinson, number 1.
Well, he's in the slot on the top of your screen, number 1 in white. No touches thus far for Robinson. He's looking his way, instead delivers it on target, and the catch is made by Marcus Riley out of Tallahassee.
Riley's been a good story. He was a 3rd-string quarterback for this team, and they use him in some Wildcat. Now he's playing mostly wide receiver, and he's added a little surge, and with enough yards picked up to allow Bethune-Cookman to go for it here on 4th down.
4th and 2.
It's too far to sneak.
Williams hands it off. First time touching is Jimmy Robinson. He's on the outside, and he's brought down. But he picks up the 1st down, and just like that, Bethune-Cookman now in the red zone.
Great job schematically by offensive coordinator Alan Suber. I didn't know what to expect. 2 yards was too far to sneak. They go empty, but no, it's a little handoff sweep to Jimmy Robinson, showing you the speed. Gets to the edge and picks up big yardage for the Cats.
20 yards on the carry for Jimmy Robinson. And now the Wildcats in striking distance, going deeper into Aggie territory as Isaac Washington on the carry, wrapped up by Joseph Stuckey and others.
Isaac Washington on the carry.
Now it gets hard. You get down here, you got the big play, but now when you want to have the ability of running the football, you're facing that defense that's built to stop the run.
First in the MEAC in run defense and scoring defense are the Aggies, trying to hold the Wildcats here on 2nd and 9. Washington just dropped the pass. He was wide, he was open rather, but couldn't hold on to it.
This is when you ask yourself, why isn't Jimmy Robinson on the field? He had the big run. You got to lay it on the line. You need your best offensive player on the field.
And he's still on the sideline. 3 wide receivers for the Wildcats. Williams finds Teron Mallard, and Mallard with a big catch, the first down, and inside the 5 of the Aggies.
You know, I actually forgot that they have that part of their arsenal. Mallard, the big target tight end. 3rd and long, you normally don't do a little play action, but they do a play action just to buy some time. And watch Mallard just slip right by Howard, the inside linebacker, and picks up a big first down.
Mallard, who is out of Newborn, North Carolina, gives his team 1st and goal. Williams gives it to Washington. Washington trying to move ahead, and he's bent back. Michael Branch in to push him back.
Nice surge by Isaac Washington. Accelerated, ran hard, almost picked up the touchdown. Going to be marked just short at the 1-yard line.
So Jimmy Robinson trots back onto the field.
Heavy package for Bethune-Cookman as they bring in Jerry Beauchamp, number 49, backup tight end. They're going heavy along the right side.
He's in motion. They hand it off and just nowhere to go as Will Jones and Devin Harold stop the Wildcats' rushing attack in its tracks.
You see Beauchamp go across in motion, and they followed the fullback. Cut back, there was nothing there at all. And good play by the defensive front from North Carolina A&T.
3rd and goal. Williams has some space. He has 1 man to beat, and it's a free play because we did see some movement up front from the Aggies.
You take the penalty in this situation because he didn't make it to the end zone.
Defense, number 50, half the distance to the goal. 4 down.
And this is big because he jumped, so you figure they were on about the 3-yard line, what's half the distance, so now they'll get 3rd down again from about 1.5 yards out. Good decision to try and draw him off sides with the hard count. It's just so tough. What do you do in these situations?
I was just going to say, Jay, like, what do? You know that they love to stop the run, but you have weapons in Williams and Robinson.
Yeah, use the speed. Use the speed. Try and get something on the edge. You cannot run the ball up the middle right now against A&T.
Williams hands it off, and Ladarian Wilson moves the pile ahead for the score.
Uh-oh, look out. The Wildcats have showed up here in Greensboro.
And Terry Sims' team, that was an all-important touchdown for them.
Just able to drive, block, and get into the end zone.
The PAT goes through Ladarian Wilson, who was slowed by injuries throughout the season, comes up with the first touchdown today, but it was the 4th and 1 run by Jimmy Robinson. He says, I need 1, I get 20, and then I'll set my man up, Ladarian Wilson, in for the touchdown.
Alexa, call Mike. Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
An all-important conference matchup for Bethune-Cookman as they need to win out and get some help from South Carolina State if they want a trip to the Celebration Bowl. They started their season there in the MEAC Swag Challenge. Can they get back? Meanwhile, for the Aggies, they just have to win out and they can go back to the Celebration Bowl.
Number 2, Corey Banks.
Well, the Disney bundle is now available as you can get ESPN Plus with great content like NFL Prime, UFC, NHL, 30 for 30 and all. You get Disney Plus and Hulu. It's an amazing package of movies, sports, and shows. Go to ESPNplus.com to sign up now. You know, like, Disney Plus has kind of been a game changer already. It's hit the market pretty quickly, and if you're a lover of all things Disney, you can take in a whole lot. That one goes to the back of the end zone for the touchback.
You saw that graphic that talked about what's at stake. On paper, then it seems like A&T would have the tougher climb. Actually, you could make the argument for Bethune and A&T, because A&T has to play Bethune-Cookman, then next week they play their rival in North Carolina Central. Bethune-Cookman has to play A&T, and then they got to play on Florida A&M, which we know how big that game is. And South Carolina State's just sitting there. A lot of their dirty work's already been done. They're going to take on a challenging North Carolina Central team. Kick off in a couple of minutes, but it's all up for grabs.
And it's been all Jermaine Martin until he went out, but the ground game for A&T, that's been their bread and butter all season long, and they continue to keep it on the ground.
And it starts up front. The offensive line, they've really answered the call. I mean, DeJour Simpson, Marcus Pettiford, Dacre Wilson, the center. Big fellas up front have been controlling the line of scrimmage.
Carter, just the second pass attempt of the day, and it's complete to Zachary Leslie.
And this is where North Carolina A&T can get themselves in trouble. Yes, they completed the pass, but that was a run-pass option. The way they've been running the football, Carter just handed off. They've been running, but they try and distribute the ball. Sometimes they get just a little bit too cute. Instead of sticking to the ugly stuff, hard-nosed pound the football.
Given to Banks. Banks, who was in motion, and Banks, who's got speed, and some blockers up ahead along the sideline, and a big gain for Corey Banks, the junior out of Tyrone, Georgia, but he was aided by Elijah Bell, his fellow wide receiver.
I mean, Bell's the big wide receiver, is going to help you finish it off, but when you're controlling the line of scrimmage, you get to the perimeter, everybody wants a piece of the blocking game, and you'll see Banks with nice vision, weaving in and out for a big play, and North Carolina A&T continues to rack up the rushing yards.
28 yards on that last play from Banks. This time, it's Martin just being patient up ahead, and a couple yards on first down.
But the key you're seeing is this Bethune-Cookman defense, they like to get tackles for loss. You know, they're one of the best in the conference in tackles for loss. They're tied for first in sacks on the season. Saw a good look there, number 48, Marcus Ford. He's a tackle for loss machine, but their big plays have only been giving up 2 yards per play. They haven't come up with the big play on defense yet.
Baker in the backfield. He gets the ball, and there's big number 48, Marcus Ford. His ears were burning. He's got that tackle for a loss.
See, that's what he does. When he makes a play, it's not meeting you at the line of scrimmage. It's meeting you behind the line of scrimmage. And you'll see him just shoot the gap, recognize where Baker is, and stop him in his tracks to add for another tackle for loss to his stat total.
First team all MEAC selection, the 5th-year senior out of Gibsonton, Florida. Carter surveying the field, moves to his left, holds on to it, and just lets it go. So the defense for the Wildcats holding on that 3rd down, and now that'll bring up 4th down.
You go for it here.
You go for it here, Jay?
Yeah, you can't make a field goal into this win. It's such a long drive with the field goal attempt. And if you punt into the end zone, you're going to gain 10 yards.
So Elijah Bell and Zachary Leslie to the bottom of your screen, 2 of the top receivers. And Carter just boots it away, and it's bumped. It's muffled by Trevor Merritt, and Merritt is able to get back on top of it.
I like the call. Good call.
So on the little pooch kick from Carter, it was muffed by Merritt, but the Wildcats will start inside their own 20.
ESPN, home of the New Year's Six and the College Football Playoff.
Before all of that kicks off, December 21st, that's what Bethune-Cookman and A&T are playing for. They want to get to the Celebration Bowl.
And $1 million.
Well, A&T, it's really been just like a second home for them. They've made it 3 of the last 4 years and have won every trip they've been there. Wildcats on the move first. Quayshawn Bird with the carry. He's a guy, too, when you talk about the playmakers for this Bethune-Cookman team, if they can get a guy like him the ball, or Jimmy Robinson, or Kevius Williams, or Stephon Francois, they've so many attackers, you just got to give them the ball.
You have to give it to them on the perimeter, though. You really just can't attack this North Carolina A&T defense from inside. Get the ball to playmakers in space and allow that speed to make a dent.
Well, here is Quayshawn Bird, and great pursuit there by the true freshman Jacob Roberts on the tackle. You know, he had a breakout game a couple of weeks ago and against Howard during G-Ho, you know.
Breakout versus Howard, 64-6. Can't give you credit for that. Earn your stripes here when you're taking on Bethune-Cookman, South Carolina State Central.
He's first starter at that linebacker position for true freshman for a while for the Aggies. Big third down here. Kevius Williams, and giving chase to him is Devin Harrell. And the speed of Kevius Williams able to slink through, get the first down, and get out of bounds.
Huge play. This is like a busted play. This is a situation where A&T wants you to run the football, and they were ready for it, but Williams just a little bit too athletic. I talked about his ability to change directions, put on a little stutter step, and Devin Harrell was caught up in a mismatch. And that's the type of talent that Williams brings to the table. Spread out the field and let his legs do damage.
They hand it off up the middle and really nowhere to go as Leon Smalls was there to stop the ball carrier.
Running them against A&T just becomes a moot point at certain points, and we've seen it happen time and time again. You know, I like the philosophy they said they were going to do. Call a pass play, but tell Williams, hey, if you see a running lane, take off. You become the running game in passing formations.
Jimmy Robinson in motion. Williams overthrows his intended target of Francois. And so that brings up 3rd and 8. And Jay, they haven't been able to do too much on the ground, and you want to get your quarterback into a rhythm and completing some easy passes, but thus far, the offense overall has struggled.
Yeah, he's not comfortable in the pocket. He's a scrambler. At this point in his career, you kind of are who your numbers say you are. You know, in these conditions at the wind, if you're not a great pocket passer, then you need to move. You need to find people on the run.
And the Wildcats spend a timeout, their second of the half. We'll take that timeout with them. Come back with us to Greensboro.
Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
Another important 3rd down for Terry Sims Ball Club as they're trailing by 13 to the 25th ranked team in the country. A critical conference matchup. Williams get the offense set. He rolls out to his right. Williams keeping his eyes downfield, throws it and completes it, but out of bounds as Marcus Riley was pulled out of bounds from the pass.
And this offense just looks flat. It's a good defense you're going against, A&T. I'll give you that, but they just seem like they're a little confused on how they're going to attack this defensive unit. And we've seen an offense just not in rhythm for Bethune-Cookman.
Well, they put up 13 against Delaware State the week before that, 19 against South Carolina State. Coward on the punt. Banks watches it bounce, and it rolls.
What a play.
Does he get it out? He gets it out. That was Jimmy Robinson III, who was able to bat the ball just at the Aggies' 2-yard line. The 61-yard punt from Bryce Coward. And even better special teams play by Jimmy Robinson.
Fans, as you can see today, we are joined by
Stood us up.
Oh yeah, the blue and gold marching machine preparing for halftime as 4:57 remaining in this one. The Aggies get the ball, but they are backed up deep into their own territory after a great special teams play. Jermaine Martin trying to give them some room, and Jermaine Martin does that. Just a little bit more breathing room as Marcus Ford in on tackle.
That was a huge tackle by Marcus Ford from his defensive end position. Martin with one cut had some daylight. Wonder how he was able to pick up so many yards backed up with great tackle by Ford.
More than 200 yards in this game total for A&T, but swirling around them were a bunch of white jerseys out the Wildcats defense. In on the stop was Marcus Hendricks.
Yeah, they really need to stop right now. They can stop the Aggies here on third down. Give your offense an opportunity to cut into that lead a little bit going into halftime. Take advantage of the great special teams play, win the battle of field position.
3rd and 6 from about A&T's 6-yard line. Handed off, rather, it was Carter trying to find Leslie and the incomplete pass, and so this should set up some really good field possession for the Wildcats, but remember, their special teams has played exceptionally well so far in this first half.
Yeah, we're going to see now kicking into the wind, and on that pass there, Carter just missed him. There was some confusion in the secondary for Bethune-Cookman and open Zachary Leslie in the flat, but Carter just missed the throw. And Bethune-Cookman once again with an opportunity if they field it cleanly. This is important. Field it, catch it. Don't let the ball hit the ground. Run up, make the catch, and then pick up yardage.
The sophomore punter, Michael Rivers, gets it in the air again against the wind. Takes a friendly bounce, and Tyree Spain watches it, and it's down near the 45.
You're kicking into the wind. Why didn't you sprint up and catch that ball? They lost another 10 to 12 yards in field position because they let the ball hit the ground. Little things catch up to you in big games.
And that was the first 3 and out for A&T. We'll see how their defense responds. And I think I go back to that blocked PAT when Bethune took some momentum away from A&T. They were able to come down and get a score, and now they can bring themselves within a touchdown on this drive.
Yeah, look at the bottom of your screen. I like having Jimmy Robinson and Marcus Riley on the same side of the field.
Isaac Washington, they like to call little Walter Payton because he wears number 34, similar running style, and he's up ahead with a good first down run.
Yeah, and they finally found a crease. Nice patience. Kyon Howard, for one of the few times we've seen get out of position.
They try to go up the middle again.
Yeah,
this time, nowhere to go.
And what you need to do is when you get number 1 and number 2, that's Robinson and Riley on the same side of the field, it creates a distraction. So when they did that, North Carolina A&T had to move a safety that would be there for run support onto that side of the field. When you spread them out, it's a balanced formation. They don't have to give attention to either one of them.
Well, Riley is the lone receiver. To the bottom of your screen, Robinson in the slot up top. Williams looking, finds Robinson, pass complete, and brought down by Najee Reams.
This is when you go hurry up. You got the look in past secondary coverage that you saw. You should get back to the line of scrimmage before the Aggies can adjust.
Aggie Nation. It's third down.
Instead, Bethune-Cookman content to take their time a little bit and get the proper call play on 3rd and 4, but you have to think this is 4-down territory.
They're set. Williams gets it, keeps it himself, and he finds a little crease along that left side. And again, Akevius Williams continuing to make things happen with his legs.
That's a great job of running the football, because there was an absolute missed block by the tight end Mallett to seal the edge. Didn't matter. Williams able to pick up the 1st down anyway.
They run to the line quickly, but take their time. Again, getting the play from the sideline. About 90 seconds remaining in this first half. Williams saw a defender to his left, rolls out to his right and gets it away. But right there staring him down was Will Jones, and a late flag coming out along the near side.
Roughing the passer. Defense, number 54, for contact out the quarterback's head. Half the distance to the goal. Out of that first down.
Huge penalty there. So Will Jones applying the pressure, and then after the play,
hit him in the helmet and took him down. And it's something where Williams was giving himself up. It was a lazy pass out of bounds, clearly to use the rules that say quarterback can get rid of the ball if he's outside the tackle box. Howard wanted to take him down and hit him in the helmet. Easy call, costly penalty against the Aggies.
Could be a huge mistake here if the Wildcats are able to capitalize. Williams tucks it, has nowhere to go. Spying him was Joseph Stuckey. Stuckey, the sophomore out of Hillside, New Jersey, and he played that to perfection.
Great job of recognition by the Sam linebacker Stuckey, but hey, you'll take that if you're a Bethune-Cookman, because Stuckey had some help. If there was just one person in the open field, I don't think he makes that tackle, but Stuckey guessed right, able to hold Williams to just 1 yard.
And the Wildcats taking their time on this drive. The last few plays, 35 seconds to go on 2nd and 10. And Williams almost got hit. He's trying to decide what to do with it and throws it away.
And that's the snap. The high snap throws it off. When that ball hangs in the air, the timing is disrupted. And the defense is taught just tee off on the quarterback. And this is just a heads-up play by Williams, getting rid of the football, realizing it won't be called for intentional grounding. You live to fight another day.
So who's going to execute? The Aggies defense or the Wildcats offense? 3rd and 9. Washington on the carry up ahead, and that puts them in position to kick a field goal at this point, right, Jay?
Content to go to settle for a field goal attempt rather than taking a shot at the end zone. Maybe try a jump ball or something of that nature. A little bit conservative, but taking points from where they were down 20, an opportunity to cut that lead in half. Wildcats still have a chance.
Well, just a reminder to our viewers, coming up at the half, we'll have Gimme 5 MEAC Awards. You're handing them out, Jay. I can't wait to hear. We could be maybe talking about some of those postseason accolades from players we're watching today, plus HBCU power rankings, highlights, and stats. You want to stick around for that. And this has been a really fun season, Jay, overall to call Black college football.
Comes down to the final week in both conferences, in the SWAC as well as the MEAC. We still don't know who's going to make it to Atlanta. Team still in contention.
The freshman Xavier McDonald on to attempt the 25-yard field goal. Win in his favor. Puts it up, and it's through. So 10 points separate the Wildcats from the 25th team, ranked team in the nation. And look, A&T gets the ball back to start the second half. But Terry Sims' ball club, kind of the light switch turned on in that second quarter.
They won that second quarter after being down 20-0, put up 10 points. And look at this.
This is what's on the line. This is for all the marbles. You win it if you're A&T today, and next weekend you're into the Celebration Bowl. For South Carolina State and Bethune-Cookman, they've got to win out, but they need one or the other to lose.
And nobody has an easy path. I mean, when you talk about South Carolina State, one thing, you look at Central. Central's got a defense that can compete with anybody. Norfolk State has an offense now that can compete with anybody. So nobody's has it easy. Early word, South Carolina State up 7-0 on Norfolk, but you're going to need more points than that to beat Norfolk. The Trail Scott's offense is just too good. And then I make the case, if South Carolina State wins out and they don't make it to the Celebration Bowl, you almost have to, their resume should allow them some consideration.
Yeah, remember they beat Wofford, a ranked Wofford team in the top 10 in the first 2 weeks of the season.
And then their two losses during the regular season came to ranked opponents, North Carolina A&T and Florida A&M. Both ranked in the top 25. That's a pretty quality resume, but we'll see how it plays out. But they much rather go to Atlanta first.
And for the Aggies, they have won 3 of the first 4 Celebration Bowls. Two-time defending champs, and they will just be content to take a knee and trot into the locker room with a 10-point lead. It's been an entertaining first half between the two. The Aggies jumped out to a big lead, and then Bethune-Cookman started to work their way back into this contest. Jay, I'm excited for the second half. I don't know about you.
I am too, and something tells me that 1 point is going to come into play, whether Bethune's going to have the opportunity to tie it with the touchdown and a field goal, or they score a couple touchdowns and they get the lead. We'll see how it plays out, but hey, two good teams. We'll see how it plays out in the second half.
Well, the Aggies have controlled the series the last 4 meetings. They've won it. John Maine Martin doing his thing, but coming back the other way. The Wildcats have it going. Halftime on the way when you come back. Welcome back into Greensboro. We're at the half between Bethune-Cookman and North Carolina A&T. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green with you. It's that time of year where you have to start handing out some awards, Jay. Yeah, so we're turning up. We're getting you ready. We're teasing you for Give Me 5.
Yeah. This is a Give Me 5 show with Jay Walker and Tiffany. Yeah. You gonna have to give me 5 fingers on it.
All right, y'all. How about this? It was a fantastic year of football. Let's start off with the game of the year, or should I say games of the year. North Carolina A&T versus South Carolina State. The Bulldogs put up a fight, but Aggie pride was in the house, and they were able to hold on for that victory. But let's not give up on North Carolina A&T, because one of the more disappointing things that happened, the same things make you laugh can make you cry. North Carolina A&T went down to Tallahassee, home of Florida A&M
Stadium,
and in an overtime thriller. Give credit to the Rattlers. They held off North Carolina A&T trying to get the victory on the road. The touchdown at the end to win it in overtime. Those are one of the games of the year. Number 4, I'm going with the surprise team of the year. Everybody had South Carolina State and head coach Buddy Pugh gone, done for. But he rebounded in a major way, found some talent on defense and some offensive players. South Carolina State took a lot of teams by surprise, and they're still in contention to make it to the Celebration Bowl. Number 3, coach of the year, Tiff, who is it?
Willie Simmons. Way, Willie.
You say that with a lot of pride, but hey, you got to give credit where credit is due. Florida A&M has been the number 1 team in the conference all season long. The Millennium 2.0 has not disappointed. Defensive Player of the Year. This was a close one. But Darius Royster, the numbers just stand out. Leads the conference in tackles for losses, leads the conference in sacks. North Carolina Central has one of the top-tier defenses in the conference. Although it's been a little bit of a disappointing year in Trey Oliver's first year, Darius Royster has balled out all season long.
I think that's really interesting. So I know you're an offensive guy. So who do you have up for offensive player
rephrase that.
of the year?
I want you should ask me who's going to join you, Jay Walker, as a reigning MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. Give it to me.
He's still living in yesteryear, y'all.
How about this? This guy right here, I think, has the best chance at it. John Martin, running back extraordinaire for North Carolina A&T. Everybody wondered how the Aggies were going to run the football. Well, he stepped up. One of the leading rushers in all of FCS, is going to lead the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference in rushing. Martin's been that dude.
All right, on the bubble, who's just there?
There's some names that just couldn't leave off. Jimmy Robinson, specialist extraordinaire. Ryan Stanley, career leader in all-time passing at Florida A&M's, had a good year. And Rico Kennedy has been a standout defensive performer for Morgan State. Those are my postseason awards, people we talked about all season long. If they want to talk about it, Tip, they can waste their time and hit us up.
You're not trying to hear them.
At Black College Live.
Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
Oh, we're rocking up here in the booth, and you know they're feeling good here in Aggie Stadium. The blue and gold marching machine, along with several high school bands on the field right now. We're just swaying with them back and forth, Jay. That's all you got to do. I don't even know what song it is, but it doesn't matter.
That many bands on the field, they look about the size of Bethune-Cookman's band by itself. With that in there, look, that's how they cover the field.
Shout
the
out to the
Wildcats.
Marching Wildcats who couldn't make the trip up to Greensboro. They are a very big band. Their team trailing by 10. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, power rankings coming about this week. And again, more shifts, more changes, and then some things remain the same.
Some things do remain the same, but starting at the bottom, you got to start from the bottom. Who's going to end up at the top? Number 5. All right, Wildcats. But you don't look like it right now. But they coming off the loss last week, so Bethune-Cookman was the number 5 team there, but they're in jeopardy right now. Number 4, South Carolina State. I think that's been the surprise team right there. I think they're kind of interchangeable there. But I just think South Carolina State, even if they don't make it to Atlanta, has a resume good enough to warrant postseason play. Number 3, had to going Alcorn right now, even though I think you can flip-flop number 3 and number 2. Alcorn State, Fred McNair, they're coming off a loss to a very good Grambling State football team. They're all right. Number 2, Aggies took the loss, but they're looking like the top 2 teams right now. Once again, they're rebounding nicely. They're making the rebound they need to make. But number 1, let's give it up to them right now. On paper, they look the best.
They're number 12 in FCS.
They got Bethune-Cookman coming up next week, and they haven't beat them in how many years, Tiffany?
Doesn't matter. They're number 12
They haven't
FCS.
beat them in 8 years. They're number 1 right now. I should put an asterisk. And on the bubble, I'm going Grambling. Got to give a shout-out to Bowie State. I think the job Damon Wilson has done with Bowie State, undefeated in conference play. They're playing good football, but we'll see. I think this is all going to change next week.
Jay, I'm curious to know, where is Southern on that list?
Not quite there. Southern is competitive. They still kind of control their own destiny, but with the emergence of Grambling, Southern's on watch-out alert.
Oh, that Bayou Classic could get really interesting just after Thanksgiving. We have more from Greensboro has come back with us to... Yeah, the stadium. Just do that? That's a good idea?
I think so.
All right. Back here at BB&T Stadium, Aggies on top, 20-10 over Bethune-Cookman in this critical conference matchup as we welcome you back in. And look, this was a special week, Jay, because the MEAC Hall of Fame class of 2020 was announced. And I know this is near and dear to you because You were sporting the purple jacket last year as an inductee.
You can still dust me off. I still have the shine on my shoulder. You can dust it off there. But,
there we go.
Well, congratulations to these folks right here. I'll let you go through them all.
Quinn Gray, who's the Billy Joe era, running that Gulf Coast offense. The quarterback went on to play in the NFL for the Jaguars. Connell Maynor and Chris McNeil representing the Aggies. Aggie pride one time. How about Jana Millen from University of Maryland Eastern Shore getting it done on the indoor volleyball court? And then Alvin Wyatt, the head coach from the Wildcats, his alma mater. He led them back to a MEAC championship.
Well, let's check this out. Hey, got that quarterback in there, Quinn Gray. Quinn Gray ran that Gulf Coast offense. They had quarterback for the Rack Boys. Florida A&M almost made it to the national championship game when he was there. Good job doing it. Well-deserved, made in the NFL. Connell Maynor. We know him as Coach Connell Maynor now, but before, these Aggie fans knew who he was. One of the best signal callers in the history of North Carolina A&T. He was a quarterback, and he's making a difference now off the field as a coach as well. Chris McNeil, so you see that there? He was a transfer guy here, but you talk about an impact he made only at A&T for those 2 years. When you're the 1997 1AA Defensive Player of the Year, that means you win what, Tiffany?
The Buck Buchanan Award.
The winner of the Buck Buchanan Award given to the nation's best defensive player. Then the last one, you gotta smile. Player, he was a player, but also the coach. That outfit right there, Alvin Shine Wyatt. Nobody did it better on the sideline than Shine. Although he's a legendary coach, he was a fantastic football player at Bethune-Cookman as well as in the NFL.
He also coached the women's basketball team for the Wildcats, but by far the best dresser that I've seen on the sideline. I mean, he would wear those threads better than anybody. Come back with us to Greensboro.
Prime Time is back. Prime Time's available Sunday through Wednesday only on ESPN+.
Jay, let me get your rendition of Prime Time.
All right, well, how about this? Jermaine Martin, he could go all the way to the house. 66-yard touchdown to give the Aggies the early lead.
Well done, Jay. I like that. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. They could not stop Jermaine Martin. They kept him on the ground, but then there was a little comeback action after that touchdown from William Simpson. We saw fight from the Wildcats.
The big fella Simpson's looking for somebody to hit to go boom, boom. Couldn't find it, but finally Bethune-Cookman got the tip right here, and that ignited something in there. And it saw something that maybe they showed a little chutzpah a little bit, and you saw them get the ball into the end zone, just rumbling, bumbling, stumbling into the end zone.
You're doing this really well. I'm going to just keep handing it over to you, Jay. That was great. So, wait a minute. What do you do for Jimmy Robinson?
Get him involved into the game. Jimmy Robinson's special player, but where's he at? We need to see him. Get him the ball on this frozen tundra of Greensboro, North Carolina right now. It feels frozen. Look at A&T folks on the sideline. They're getting hyped up. It's getting cool in here, but they're hyped. But Coach Sims, even you look a little cold. You got to loosen up a little bit. Warm your team up. Put that fire on them.
Look,
look at A&T sideline. Look at A&T sideline.
Miles per hour.
You see the folks down here, the A&T sideline?
Yeah.
They got it going. They're bouncing. They're jumping.
That's because the baby is playing. That's because the baby is playing, Jay.
Is that what it is?
That's right.
The baby?
Who doesn't get crunk off the baby? Corey Banks.
Who is the baby?
The wah, wah, wah. A little baby.
Oh, baby's in a musical
baby is like,
group.
yeah, he's
okay.
a rapper, entertainer.
I got you.
Yeah. Oh, I lost you there.
You lost me there. Yeah, you lost
man.
me there. Your choice in music is always questionable.
Whatever. Meanwhile, for Khalil Carter, he didn't have to throw the ball. He just handed it off to his running backs, and they got the job done. Jermaine Martin was the guy, but Kayshawn Baker also came in and gave Martin a nice spell. They start things off from their own 25, near their own 25, and Martin with the ball along the left side, and a good run on first down, brought down by Devin James.
It's good they're sticking to the formula they had success with in the first quarter. Heavy doses of Jermaine Martin. Coach Sam Washington said, we're going to make him prove they can tackle him. We're not going to not call his number. Martin responded big in the first half. See if he can keep it going here in the second for the Aggies.
Remember, he did miss a couple of plays. He got a big hit in that first half, but he came back out looking solid as Carter completes the pass on the outside to Elijah Bell, the A&T career leading receiver. He's broken a lot of records. Now he's got MEAC records in his sights. First time he's been targeted.
That's good. Get him his catch, but get back to running the football. Second and short, I like that. You got to keep the streak going with Elijah Bell. He's had a stellar career here in Greensboro. Started as a true freshman coming from West Virginia, where he was a basketball player. He's been lights out ever since taking the field.
Jermaine Martin again on the carry, and we saw at the beginning of the game defensive coordinator calling on Jermaine Martin to be the big man.
And he was the big man, and keep giving him the football. First down, it's Martin time. And that's what you do. And when they bring in the big fella, number 46, William Simpson, it's time to get physical. So they came in with a game plan. We're not going to let the speed of Bethune-Cookman give us problems. We're going to see if they can match our power. And North Carolina A&T controlled the line of scrimmage, and then you add in a 280-pound, 290-pound fullback. It's a physical football game.
Ron Hunt in motion, 2nd and 6. Martin trying to wait for his blockers, trying to spring to the outside, gets the first down, but a marker is thrown to the field.
Chop block called. Chop block called if you have two defenders engaging on two different levels, one high, one low. Let's see if it's called on. They've got two linemen pulling. Oh, one goes low. That's a great job there. Number 55, Dacre Wilson, along with Lawrence LaGrange. One went high, one went low. Otherwise, that was a perfectly executed play.
So that backs him up.
What you mentioned earlier, the penalties a week ago hurt North Carolina A&T. They built a little momentum coming out of the locker room. Now they're forced to throw the football in this win. Probably going to stall their drive.
And when we talked to Coach Washington, just about last week's loss, how do you feel about that? How do you lose to Morgan State 2 weeks in a row? He said it was just embarrassing.
It was. I mean, no excuses there. You went up there, you knew the team was going to be pumped up for you, and Morgan, head coach Tyrone Wheatley, got a crucial victory.
And one of the things that Coach Sam Washington mentioned was the fact that, we bought into that trap game. This week, we had to do a better job of preparing ourselves mentally for this ball game, given the fact that we control our own destinies. Everything's at stake here today. And if we want to get back to the Celebration Bowl, we've got to be able to execute and come with it.
Cookman needs to be playing a little bit more off coverage right now in this passing situation. Give up the short stuff.
Yeah, the pass complete to Zachary Leslie, a pickup of just about 7 yards.
Well, very important right now. Don't play aggressive. Drop your secondary. Keep everything in front of you. Come up, make the tackle so you can get your offense on the field.
The Aggies need to get to the 36-yard line to keep this drive going. Carter looking to the sideline.
Don't believe North Carolina A&T would be afraid to throw one up to Elijah Bell, one-on-one with a little jump ball situation.
Carter with time and space up ahead decides to tuck it and run. Tydarius Peters and Devin James were there to meet him.
So once again, the penalty looms large, stalls the momentum that North Carolina A&T was building coming out of the locker room, and Bethune-Cookman with an opportunity to get the football back. And the Aggies have to control their penalties.
Tyrese Spain back to receive it for Bethune-Cookman. Rivers boots it away. Spain with some space to return. He's up the middle, and Tyrese Spain still on his feet, spins off, trying to get to the outside, and he's brought down. just near the 35-yard line of the Aggies. That's where we'll see Bethune-Cookman when we come back. Let's take a look at today's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. That's a popular dance, Jay, they like to call the Woe. That was an artist by the name of Jeezy.
I know about Jeezy.
Okay. I have to question you sometimes, man. Isaac Washington, rather Akevius Williams on the carry, brought down by Leon Smalls.
Well, A&T, we saw the flavor there. What do you think about the halftime show? Very impressive with all those bands out there.
It was nice to see.
And the band's improving. A&T, they think they're number one everything. They'll tell you they got the number one band out there. Not quite, but
where they're the number one public HBCU. They've been number one in the MEAC and all of black college football the last couple of years. They got some bragging rights right now as Williams tosses it up and misses his man, and Stephon Francois, who was open. Missed opportunity there.
You have to make that throw. You're a scholarship. I'm gonna say you're a scholarship Division I FCS quarterback. When they're this open and you know it's windy, you're supposed to make sure you step into your throws. Don't touch past that. You're looking for windows to drive the ball. Throwing into the wind, you drive the ball. You don't loft the ball. Miss opportunity for a huge play for Bethune-Cookman.
That brings up 3rd and 9. And Williams trying to avoid the Aggies defense, but Joseph Stuckey was there. He has really stepped up and come on as a physical presence.
Now, they're going to bring the blitz. He sees the blitz that's coming in from the edge here. When you've got blitz, you have to trust it's going to be blocked. Find a receiver. You can't really run on the outside versus an outside blitz coming. Joseph Stuckey's a starting outside linebacker. Find a mismatch. Find a matchup you like and throw the football there. Can't take a sack in that situation.
So Bryce Coward on to punt it away on 4th down. Gets it away, held up in the air a little bit, and then just dribbles just near the 32-yard line. We'll check out the Undefeated for exclusive HBCU content. Click on the HBCU tab on the undefeated.com. Jason Reed has a piece up on the rise of black quarterbacks, and right now they're pretty hot within the NFL. Lamar Jackson is just scorching folks, defenses all around the league.
Patrick Mahomes, the most arm talent in the league. Arm talent, most overused phrase out there. He's got it. Dak the man. Deshaun Watson, probably, I'm going to say the best leader out that group outside of Russell Wilson, who is an MVP candidate.
If you had a choice between Jackson and
any of those guys,
Russell Wilson, who do you go? Woo, another big hit there, but who do you have in the MVP race?
Oh, wow. It's Russell Wilson right now, but Deshaun Jackson's gaming. And with those legs, I wouldn't be surprised if he surpassed him. You know, and thinking about the black quarterback, I always remember when I played in the NFL, I was number 6. 6 black quarterbacks, and there were only 2 quarterbacks. Self-opportunity.
Getting workouts and who could come back into the league. Jermaine Martin on the carry, bounces it to the outside, and then a marker is thrown from the referee.
This is North Carolina A&T offense.
Holding. Offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Nice run. Nice run by Martin, right? But take a look at number 75. Right, he's grabbing him on the outside, and you can get away with that for a little bit, but the moment he bounces, that's a hold, which was a nice running play Had some momentum in the running game. Now you're playing behind the chains.
So Carter had a mind to run it all along. Picks up about 5 there. Marquise Hendricks on the tackle. Hendricks, who transferred in from Boise State, then went in to JUCO before coming over to Bethune-Cookman. He's a legacy kind of guy. His father, Jack, played with the Wildcats as well.
See if this Wildcat defense can make another stop and try and get this Aggie offense off the field, taking advantage of another penalty on North Carolina A&T.
Carter looking down. Ford tried to wrap him up. He gets it away. Then he heaves it up, and Elijah Bell was down the field. And it's incomplete. Devontae Lawrence on the coverage.
Once again, broken record. A&T had it going. The penalty, they couldn't overcome the penalty. Bethune-Cookman's going to get the football back. And this was a very similar game that they played last week when they were beat by Morgan State. They moved the ball, but they had costly penalties.
I'll say this about Bethune-Cookman's defense. You know, you look over the last 2 weeks, and they have shut out opponents in the second half. And so Coach Yogi Jones, the defensive coordinator, says we've got to play for 60 minutes, not just a half. We'll see what they can do, as thus far they've held them at bay. Tyree Spain on the return, wrapped up once, got away, still on his feet. Penalty markers drop out on that return.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 19. Half the distance to the goal. First down. Timeout.
We'll take a timeout as well. 7:34 to go in the third.
Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. 2010 here, with halfway through the third quarter, and it was A&T who scored a touchdown on their first 3 possessions. They jumped out to a 20-0 lead, and they did it on the ground. However, the Wildcats gained some momentum, putting up 10 before going into the half. Quayshawn Bird with really nowhere to go, and thus far, both of these offenses not able to do anything coming out of the locker room.
And it's just going against what we thought. What do we think we see from Bethune-Cookman? Williams and Robinson. Robinson had the big play where he gained 20 yards, but they haven't called his number enough. I would get creative to get my best football player the football in open space. I mean, you can give him a bubble screen rather than waste a play on first down, gain a yard. I take my chances with Robinson getting the football.
They try to do that, set it up with Quayshawn Bird. The first to meet him was Joseph Stuckey, and then a bevy of defenders came over from the Aggies, Will Jones among them.
Stuckey's starting to make his mark here as that guy. That outside linebacker, good against the run, getting better in pass coverage. Another tool at the disposal for North Carolina A&T head coach Sam Washington.
3rd and 11, deep in their own territory, and the Wildcats 4 of 11 converting on third downs today. Williams decided to take off himself, and Williams maybe near the marker. The stop just short, pushed out by Mac McCain.
Oh, wow. And you wonder, did he know where the first down marker was? He kind of gave up at the end of the run. This is a little fool him type of run here. Maybe a little bit of hold they got away with, but look, if you lean forward, maybe initiate some contact, you may pick up that extra 1.5 yards you need for the first down.
On 4th and 1, deep in their own territory, they're going to punt it away. Maybe that extra effort would have helped. Meanwhile, the Aggies defense holding. Again, they've been looking to contain Akevius Williams, and thus far, they've been successful in doing so. Coward shanked that one in. So the Aggies are going to start with excellent field possession. We'll see what they can do with it when they start from there. The Wildcats 35.
Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
Well, these two teams have been powerhouses in the MEAC over the last decade. Bethune-Cookman started out strong. They won 5 in the Brian Jenkins era. And since then, A&T has really gained control, winning in back-to-back seasons in 14 and 15. And now they have a chance to three-peat this year. They've got 2 important to win, and it starts today.
Quickly, Tiff, who won it in 2016? You didn't see Bethune-Cookman or North Carolina A&T?
North Carolina Central.
Now in at quarterback for the Aggies, number 1. Jalen.
The Aggie Eagle Classic is next week. I'm ready. I stay ready. Kayshawn Baker trips on his own feet and goes down a loss of about 1. Jalen Fowler in at quarterback, the sophomore. Stay ready, see? And so does our truck, our crew. They pick up everything.
I'll quiz on that later, but Jalen Fowler coming into the game, backup quarterback. One of the things we've noticed with Khalil Carter every now and then, conditioning, catches cramps, and Fowler had some experience. He actually finished up that game in Tallahassee versus Florida A&M.
Stands in the pocket, delivers. Kayshawn Baker out in space, blocking his Corey Banks and springs him on the outside. Kayshawn Baker is into the end zone. He had that quick catch, and 36 yards later, Baker with the score for carrying him off like Rudy, huh?
Oh, he could be carried off the field. Is that Jermaine Martin carrying his backup running back? Oh, that's a team effort there. And what a play there.
And he has to thank Corey Banks for that.
Absolutely. I mean, the blocking downfield, but just go through your reads, little swing pass, and Baker does the rest with a block to seal the edge by Corey Banks. Good job getting the pay dirt. And the backup quarterback comes in and throws a
bad snap and nowhere to go. Ball is fumbled. And a second missed PAT for the Aggies.
This is the missed PAT, and just not a good catch by the holder, Ernest Bush, number 67. Drops it, and second missed PAT for North Carolina A&T today.
Meanwhile, the celebration continuing for Baker on the sideline after that 36-yard catch and run.
See, is he ready? Look at number 25.
Yeah.
Let me see. That's him there. Does a good job of getting out, out of the stance. Doesn't waste any motion, though. Go through the progressions, and hey, you make moves like this, I'll give it up to you. Sets up the blocker, then turns on the Jets on the sideline with a little cut to finish off the run for the score.
His 3rd touchdown of the season. And what Kayshawn Baker has done really has been a nice compliment to Jermaine Martin, taking off some of that wear and tear throughout the season. This one, a touchback into the end zone. And so, we talked about it, and we'll continue to remind our viewers of what's at stake here today. North Carolina A&T must win their 2 remaining games if they want to punch their ticket to the Celebration Bowl. Bethune-Cookman needs to win here and next weekend. Plus, they need South Carolina State to lose one of their final 2 games. And the Bulldogs in Orangeburg in a battle with North Carolina A&T, they too need to do something similar, and they are on top late in the second quarter over Central 7-0. Williams just not looking sharp from his quarterback position today.
He's just not throwing the ball well. I mean, that was just a duck that he let go there. We haven't seen him complete a crisp pass all day, and maybe it's a combination of the wind and the cold, but just not been able to find any type of rhythm throwing the football. And if you're trying to win the football game against the #1 rushing defense in the conference, that's not a recipe for success.
And about a 54 pass completion percentage coming into today. 5 of 13, just 38 yards in the air for Williams. This is where he is at his best, on the ground, up ahead, and a good pickup of just about 7 as Will Jones tackles him.
And I had to remind myself after watching him on tape to what the coaches said before his injury. Without question, he was the fastest Wildcat. He was the fastest guy on the team. You're talking a quarterback with legitimate 4.3 40-yard dash speed, and Coach Sims said, let's not forget that. And when you watch it over and over again, you're like, yeah, people don't catch him from behind.
And again, with pressure in his face, that was Joseph Stuckey.
Pressure coming, but you've got a grip on this. You have to give your guy a chance. That's a completable pass on the college level. You know you're going to get hit off that RPO, but that's just another miss from Akevis Williams.
9 plays, just 13 yards in the second half for Bethune's offense. Bryce Coward back to punt it again. The Aussie punter coming through that punting pipeline. Several players have come over from the Melbourne school, cranking out those punters. Coward, one of them, gets it away. Banks sees it dead at just about the 37. We'll kick off your Week 11 NFL Sunday with ESPN and the ESPN app at 10 a.m. Eastern. Our Sunday NFL Countdown crew will have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and preview each game right up to kickoff. And then our Monday Night Football game for Week 11 is in Mexico City as Patrick Mahomes and the AFC West leading Chiefs take on Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app. Kansas City has won their last 9 games against the Chargers going back to 2014.
Yeah, they got Mahomes back and they took a loss last week, so they need to rebound.
Jermaine Martin on the outside, and he's pushed out of bounds by Laguerre.
And A&T continuing to go with Fowler at the quarterback position, and I like that. Regardless of what's going on with Carter, Fowler came in there, delivered a little spark, no matter what you want to call it. He threw a touchdown pass and moved the chains, a little bit of excitement, so they're continuing with him in the game now. Good call.
The handoff once more, and just nowhere to go as Uriah Gilbert and Devontae Lawrence were there to bottle up Martin.
Now, if I'm Bethune-Cookman, this is when I want to take a chance. You've got a backup quarterback in there, just a sophomore. I'm going to play some man-to-man coverage and dare you to throw the football, and maybe you can create a turnover or a sack or an interception. Have to bring pressure.
On 3rd and 6, they try to bring some pressure. It's picked up, and the pass is caught by Elijah Bell. Bell with the reception.
And you live with that. You live with that. That was a hard-fought completion there. Nice throw from Fowler. They have the blitz coming. Stares it down. Throws a catchable ball for the first down. But if they continue, I'm going to make him make a couple more throws like that to see if we can rattle the sophomore quarterback.
Fowler with time, looking downfield, tries to dart it down to Bell and just overthrew his man.
Be careful now. You know I'm not a big fan of first down incompletions, particularly when you've got a running back that's had the success running the football like Martin. Got to run Martin here.
Instead, Fowler keeps it, and Marcus Ford is there. Marcus Ford, who is a great pass rusher, he brings the pressure up front. He sets the tone for the Wildcats D-line.
And you see where they just kind of got too cute for their own good. Got out of sorts a little bit, wanted to try their new weapon. This is still a 2-score game. If Bethune-Cookman can just dial up a stop or maybe create a turnover, they can help spark their offense.
Third and a dozen. And Fowler with plenty of time. What a catch by Elijah Bell! Bell turned his body around, adjusted to haul it in.
That's a huge play. Rule number 1, do not let the wide receiver get behind you in 3rd and long. How does he have a chance? Because Henry Miller allowed Elijah Bell to get behind him, and Bell does what he does, readjusts, comes down with those 50-50 jump balls.
31-yard gain on the catch for Elijah Bell. 3-time All-MEAC selection. He's on the sideline. They hand it off to Martin. Jermaine Martin sees Tydarius Peters right there in his face. A little jawing going on back and forth. And that brings up 2nd down with less than 30 to go here in the 3rd period.
You think Martin forgot that was Peters, number 21, that delivered that hit on him on the touchdown run in the first half? He wasn't going to back down from him again. What a big play by Elijah Bell.
Yep.
3rd and long. That may be the dagger if they can put some points on the board and cap off this drive.
And unable to get a playoff before the end of the 3rd quarter. The Aggies 1 quarter away from a huge win here at home if they can hold tight to their 26-10 lead. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green back with you in Greensboro. Start of the 4th quarter, and Jermaine Martin, who was the guy really early on for the Aggies, he had a big opening period, 71 yards on 7 rushes and 2 scores. Since then, the Wildcats have figured him out and slowed him down a little bit. Fowler finds his man, and it's Bell again. Ring up number 13, Elijah Bell, for 22 yards. And the Aggies extending their lead.
We know that Coach Washington's been aggressive all day. Got a team on the ropes, and watch the skinny post and watch him stick it. Good throw here from Fowler, the sophomore from Eamon, South Carolina, delivers a strike. But what a nice run route. When you can separate that much down in the red zone, that lets you know what a good route runner Elijah Bell has become.
The extra point is good. Well, since Jalen Fowler has come in, he has been able to deliver 2 touchdown passes. This time it's to the Aggies' all-time leader in touchdown catches, Elijah Bell.
Found the separation in the crease, and it's all created off the play action with Martin in the backfield. You expect the run, it opens up the throwing lanes.
And when you think about where this A&T program was, say back in 2007, they had to battle through a lot of APR issues. They had a lot of penalties coming down from the NCAA. Rod Broadway, the veteran head coach, comes on the campus and immediately turns things around. And just like that, the largest APR turnaround in FCS history that season. And then since 2013, there haven't been any issues. And Sam Washington is a man to thank for that, because when he came in, he was specifically in charge of looking over APR to right that ship.
And give him credit, because when you talk to people, they say these athletes go to class. They go to class, and it all starts at the top. Leadership starts at the top, and I'll give credit to the institution. I mean, Chancellor Martin going out and hiring a Rod Broadway, embracing what football could do for North Carolina A&T. then keeping the legacy going by hiring Sam Washington to replace Broadway.
Kicking team. Ball be placed in the 35-yard line. First down.
And the one group I don't think gets enough credit, the North Carolina A&T fans. I mean, Aggie pride. Aggie pride. When this program was in the dumps, they rallied behind the troops, and they deserve everything that they get. And they've been rolling for a while. Although, I was an Aggie killer, but I give credit where credit is due. The Aggie pride faithful, they've carried this program.
Yeah, and more importantly, I think it goes back to those APR issues of yesteryear. 5 players have already graduated. Another 4 or a handful are ready to do it again for the Aggies. And then on the call, and I think this is where coaches, beam with pride just as much as winning championships, is that they graduate their players. So Sam Washington said, we have about 30 guys on the board, and we've made it a competition for you to get a 3.0 or better, and we want to see it on the board.
And isn't it refreshing when the coach starts naming them off? Oh, he's going to graduate. He's already got his degree. Oh, he's a major in this. He'll be a big-time producer one day, or he'll be an executive, and you can tell they take pride in that.
For Bethune-Cookman, now they've got to move the ball, putting it in the air, and Akevius Williams completing the pass to Marcus Riley, moves the sticks, nearing midfield. And they've got some work to do in this fourth quarter.
And now they're trying to run a quick strike offense where I think they're more of a big play opportunistic offense.
Quayshawn Bird still staying on his feet, but then he's wrapped up and brought down. Alex Fumba, the JUCO transfer, who is one of those guys who's been really strong in the run game for A&T.
Even with a running quarterback, and Akevius Williams is probably the best running quarterback in the conference, Bethune-Cookman had 98 yards going into the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Less than 100 yards rushing, and we've seen Williams make some spectacular runs, making folks miss. That's how committed to stopping the run A&T is.
Williams with time. He had Harrell in his space, able to get away. And I think it goes back again to, what they've seen over the last 2 weeks in their losses. They were held to 59 yards rushing against South Carolina State. They were more successful in the air. And then last week against Delaware State, 257 total yards of offense. And they're not even able to move the ball much against the Aggies, just getting over 100.
Yeah, they didn't play well enough offensively to win last week. The defense played well. And I would say that the defense for Bethune-Cookman's played well here today. Good enough to win, but
Williams has a man over the top, and it's Stephon Francois. Francois with a huge grab. He just caught that one like a baseball, the over the shoulder, right up the middle.
Yeah, and this is fantastic concentration. And these are the deep shots you have to take. Throw it up, allow your wide receiver to make a play, and he did a great job looking that ball in. Not an easy catch at all. Adjusts his body, torques on it, and comes away with the huge play.
That was like a Willie Mays type catch on that 45-yard reception.
I didn't think you knew about Willie Mays. That's why I didn't say that.
Oh, really? Jeez, Jay. Give me some credit. Show me a little love. Francois, the redshirt sophomore from Miramar, Florida, his catch is under review. We'll come back to see what the final word is. The ruling on the field that it was a complete pass by Stephon Francois, but they are reviewing it in the booth just to make sure. But from our eyes, Jay, it looked to be.
The ruling on the field stands as called. First down.
Looked to be a catch, and it is a catch.
Yeah. Great job by Francois over the shoulder. Not an easy catch, but he caught it cleanly. Bethune-Cookman comes up with a big play when they desperately need it.
That sets up first and goal. Williams going to the right side. He's got space and he's in. Akevius Williams saw it all day, was drawn up that way, and they executed.
Hey, fourth quarter. They're coming back. This is a team that starts slow and they try to finish strong. They got the quick strike when they absolutely had to have it. And you see Williams. Watch him turn on the Jets. RPO, square him up. He's going to win that foot race easily against the defensive end and cruises into the end zone.
Kevius Williams with the 9-yard touchdown run. We'll see what kind of fight the Wildcats have with 12 minutes and 16 seconds remaining. Well, Sunday afternoon we'll have number 15 Florida taking on UConn at Gamble Pavilion in Stores. The last time the Gators came to Stores was 2013, and a guy by the name of Shabazz Napier hit the game winner at the buzzer to give the Huskies the win. 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
What year was that?
2013.
Wow, okay. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
I know. Remember, he had a great story too, Shabazz Napier, and the player. He was trying to find some food, and he was homeless for a little bit, and got a great opportunity, and went on to play a couple years in the league too.
There's been some tough times for UConn since then, though. Kevin Ollie, my homeboy, was there. He couldn't make it as a coach. Always tough replacing a legend. Ollie had the early success in replacing Calhoun. It's been tough ever since.
That's Corey Banks. Banks, who has some speed himself. Corey Banks with good blocking. Up ahead, and he's just tripped up. Corey Banks with the exciting kickoff return.
And this is just a good job of fielding the ball and setting up the blocks. And good to see Banks get rewarded. We saw him with some good blocks earlier for his wide receiver core and the running backs. That's a long way to run going untouched. Poor special teams play on the kick coverage. And he tripped him. That's a tripping call there. I was wondering how somebody on the ground made the tackle.
Well, they don't get the tripping call, which would have been 15 extra yards tacked on. Jermaine Martin, and Martin trying to stutter step. But Tydarius Peters, we've called Peters a whole lot today. He's been active from his safety position.
The strong safety, you're responsible for being that seventh guy in the box, controlling the line of scrimmage, controlling the running game. So a strong safety that can mix it up and put a pop on you like Peters has done. But he's had a tough matchup trying to trail Jermaine Martin all afternoon.
Loss of 1. Now second down. They give it to Martin again, and Martin, who continues to run through defenders. Bethune-Cookman having a hard time bringing him down. Rashawn McNeil and Peters were there again.
I mean, man, he really does remind me of Isaiah Crowell. Running back, went to Georgia, then went to Alabama State, then played for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the ability to just one step, get up to full speed in a hurry. You don't need a lot of daylight. You doesn't need a lot of time.
One of the top rushers in all of FCS this season, as Fowler trying to follow some blockers and does so up the seam, and Jalen Fowler getting into the running attack.
And Fowler plays within the system. That's what you like. When we talk about Carter being a dual threat runner, well, Fowler may not be as fast, but look at the patience. Set up the blocks, set up the run, and then secure the football. Not looking to do too much, wants to make sure he knows where the contact is coming from so he can protect the football.
Now in the red zone, they bring in William Simpson, the fullback. And he tries to clear the way, but instead, letting it go was Fowler. Fowler found Leslie is still on his feet before he was thrown down by Trevor Merritt.
Fowler's pass is complete.
And this is another run pass option. He's going to pull it and deliver a strike. Good job of catching it the second time around by Zachary Leslie.
And so far, have you liked Jalen Fowler and that switch up from Chris Barnett to bring him in.
I like the poise. I like the poise, and he's seeing a little bit different look than Bethune-Cookman from defensive side. But it's good to know he's got the ability to throw the ball. The strong arm seems like the wind really hasn't affected him much. He's been very aggressive in throwing the football.
Jermaine Martin, you can't stop him. Jermaine Martin with his 3rd touchdown of the game, and he set a single season rushing touchdown record for the Aggies with that one.
You see Martin, doesn't take much. One step, accelerate, get into the end zone. Tariq Cohen was a good one, but nobody's had a better season getting into the end zone than Jermaine Martin here at North Carolina A&T.
The extra point is up and good. And they wanted him to be the big man, and he has been. Jermaine Martin putting up the Aggies big.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's.
Season for Jermaine Martin. And when you think about the running backs who have come through this North Carolina A&T program, this guy is one that is incredibly special. He puts his team up big as the 25th ranked Aggies, if they hold tight, would be one win away from getting back to the Celebration Bowl.
You see that physique put together on how he's built. You always look at athletes, what they bring. Those thighs. I mean, he's got some thighs that can generate some power and some speed. I don't want to offend the young man, but I mean, those are some powerful thighs right there. Right. And he's not even wearing any thigh pads.
Right.
So.
Quayshawn Bird on the return. Bird trying to go to the opposite side of the field. Still on his feet, crossed the 40 and out of bounds. Well, Jermaine Martin, you transferred in from Coastal Carolina, and the impact that he has made. Look at his numbers compared to some of the former MEAC players of the year, and Mike Mayhew and Tariq Cohen in his junior season.
I mean, that's getting it done. Now, you're going to offend some Aggie folks out there. Any list that doesn't talk about Maurice Hicks, you're tripping down here. So, sorry about that, Haley and Adam in that carpet. I got to call it like I see it, but that's
but this is
company.
Junior season alone, because these are numbers that are comparable to MEAC players of the year in the past, and so you think Jermaine Martin is putting together a spectacular campaign for his Player of the Year honors this season.
And you saw, I mean, that's why I said I think he will be the Offensive Player of the Year, and he's beaten out some pretty good competition, but I mean, A&T's known for running the football. They've always been able to do it for quite a while, and it goes on. And you know, you see him there. I like the fact that, hey, he stepped up today.
Yeah.
They challenged him in the open, out the locker room, and he has delivered, and A&T's a victory away from getting that much closer to going to Atlanta. We got to play under review here.
Thanks, hun. Have fun at work.
He's a running back too, but he's out there. The pork.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Warren will give us the call of whether the pass was complete or not after the review.
After review, the ruling in the field stands as called. First down.
So Jonathan Thomas with the catch, 3-year starter for the Wildcats. Another look at it here.
I mean, the wind starts making this ball dive a little bit early. Got underneath it enough, but I think it's the right call. Not enough to overturn that decision on the field.
Isaac Washington running into Kion Howard and Devin Harrell.
A little update. South Carolina State 14. North Carolina Central 0.
All right.
Buddy Pugh squad continues to take care of business.
Look, The idea is South Carolina State remains in it if they can win their final 2 games, and they need a Bethune-Cookman loss.
Which they're getting.
Which they're getting right now.
Which they're getting. So still means that, if things play out like they are right now, then A&T, obviously, if they win next week in North Carolina Central, they're going to the Celebration Bowl. If they were to stumble, South Carolina State would get the bid.
Big stop here on 3rd and 2 as Isaac Washington has nowhere to go. But I think Justin Cates is like, let's keep this game going. Let's keep this clock rolling so we can get one step closer.
Yeah, when you start saying, hey, if we get a couple more stops, how much longer do we have to play, Coach? That's what you want to know. So I figure they're about a stop away from the backups coming into this football game, eating some clock.
And really, when you think about this defensive line for A&T, they were without their starting defensive end, Jermaine McDaniel, and one of their backup nose guards, Jermaine Williams, with concussion protocol. And so Leon Smalls, Kadarius Kendrick, Justin Cates, and Devin Harrell have all done a terrific job up front. On 4th and 2, and there's big Devin Harrell. Solid season, and he's continued to get better week after week, holding them on 4th down or turnover of downs.
I mean, watch him recognize where the ball is. Oh, you're doing the run play option off of me. Go down the line of scrimmage and bend him backwards, stopping the forward momentum. That right there was a statement tackle.
And Courtney Court likes it as well. Jalen Fowler, since he's come in, he's done a nice job in relief of Khalil Carter.
Yeah, not the threat in the running game, but he's making notice that he's the threat in the passing game, making good decisions with the football, threading the needle. Fowler came in and gave him a good look.
A couple of touchdown passes for Fowler, now the 3rd-string quarterback in, and Kingsley Affetti, the transfer out of East Carolina. Affetti was a threat in the run game, dual threat guy, but he's known more for what he can do with his legs.
And I thought it was interesting. He transferred to North Carolina A&T. There was a lot of, not going to call it hype, but a lot of talk about Affetti coming down to A&T. I was like, A&T beat East Carolina.
Yep.
They beat him. Then you want to come and play with them. And Khalil Carter and Fowler, not so fast, held on to their spots during the quarterback competition. And Affetti is a good athlete, can run. But I think a lot of people were surprised that the FBS transfer not able to move higher up the depth chart.
Maybe he liked the fact that he saw Coach Washington go viral after that game saying, "Bring me my money." As Darius Peters lays a big hit on Affetti.
Peters playing like the senior.
Brings up 3rd down.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah. Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah. Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah.
All you could do is smile after that. That was so much fun. But don't you want to play for a guy like that?
I mean, that was classic right there. That's, from a season ago, people still talking about it. That's what's going to be used all the time for. That's like the ultimate post-game speak in a money game. After you get the win, tell them, bring me my money.
They had T-shirts made and everything as Kingsley Affetti able to scramble for the 1st down. I wonder, I wish we could, be in the locker room. I know it's a sacred space, but, what Sam Washington, what else does he have in his pocket?
When we're around him, he's very polite. He's always polite. So when I saw that clip, I said, what? Where'd that come from, Sam? I let you know he's got a little personality. Fantastic football player at Mississippi Valley State, inducted in their Hall of Fame and played in the NFL.
And some records broken recently by Minkah Fitzpatrick as he scored a defensive touchdown in back-to-back weeks for the Steelers. It's a solid run from Baker up ahead. And not only that, he was really humble and quiet about his records in the NFL.
Yeah, I actually told Sam I didn't know you were that good a football player in the NFL. He said, Jay, I've been telling you I can play. And you see right now, this is where North Carolina Central with the, I'm sorry, North Carolina A&T with the backups in there. I'm thinking a week ahead of time.
You might be upset some folks here.
This is a eat the clock, take some of their heart drive, statement drive, finish the job.
Yeah. But going back to Coach Washington, when he was with the Steelers, he had a record of an interception in 5 consecutive games. That stood till about last year. And strong, powerful running from the mighty Kayshawn Baker.
Kayshawn Baker on the carry.
He's like that. You see that run that ball. He's loving it now. He's been tough.
That could be another insta-gift, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's something where, that was, I would say, the one difference between he and Broadway, where Broadway was going to make you run that ball, like it or not.
That's the
Washington,
chicken.
Yeah, do the chicken. Washington, yeah, you're going to run the ball, but if you can throw it a little bit, I'll let you do it. Nah, all bets were off today. We're going to go back to doing that chicken and running that football.
Well, they have force-fed the football to Jermaine Martin, who had 120 yards on the ground. Kayshawn Baker also found the end zone as well. And they've been doing chicken. Look, KFC does chicken. They don't do anything else. They just do chicken. And so A&T, that's what we're going to do. We're going to run the football.
And look at this jumbo package they're bringing in. They're bringing in, William Simpson. They're bringing in Devin Milton, the backup tackle. They're bringing in the backup guard for this yard here. See, this is Coach Washington having a little bit of fun. Oh, let's just smash them right now. Look at this. The biggest lineup they can put on the field, they're doing it to get this 1 yard.
And Kayshawn Baker does his job. He follows the big blockers up ahead, but really a credit to the offensive line of you talked about them all day long. They did their job in establishing and controlling the line of scrimmage.
They made it easy. And that's why I thought A&T, when they're rolling, they're like one of the premier programs in FCS football. Like when you see the North Dakota States. North Dakota State controls the line of scrimmage. They can run. They've got backs that can hurt you, and they can also pass too. I thought A&T could run whenever they wanted to, and they could pass. Might have fallen in love with the pass a little bit too much. Lost their personality a little bit. Maybe last week was a reminder of what they do well, because they came out here versus a feisty Bethune-Cookman team and dominated the line of scrimmage. I mean, you are just not seeing white jerseys get behind the gray or blue jersey. Uh-oh, here we go.
And tempers flare a little bit for Jamarquise Reeves, who threw his hand in the face of an Aggie after the play. And that's simply out of frustration, Jay.
Been a long day at the office.
Let's look like protection opponent after the play. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
This is number 4 trying to strip it, and somebody gets in his face, and he don't want to hear it. Tyshawn Miller, number 61 from A&T, coming over to protect his running back, and Reeves gets charged with the unsportsmanlike. Think about how good this A&T team is going to be next year. On the offensive line, they're only losing 1 senior. You've got Martin coming back, who's the mainstay. We've seen what Fowler can do at the quarterback position. Replacing Elijah Bell will be tough, but Leslie's good, Banks is good. They've got some weapons.
Ron Hunt, who we saw today as well, and I think it was interesting because Fowler came in 5 of 6, 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. He threw one to the guy who's running the ball right now, and Kayshawn Baker, who was down near the 1 yard line.
I think we had this circle once upon a time as the game of the year in the conference. Both teams stumbled last week, but today, this was a knockout performance by North Carolina A&T.
And this is where Terry Sims is thinking to himself, what is it about North Carolina A&T can't get over the hump? He'll go to 0-5 against the Aggies since he's taken over as head coach, as Baker puts up more points for A&T. They have split over the last 2 years, but the Aggies will go on to win their 5th in a row against Bethune-Cookman.
And this is just an opportunity to allow the senior, Kayshawn Baker, an opportunity to score on game here on TV. Did a good job of coming in. And did you notice that? The number 61, Tyshawn Miller, had nobody to block. That's a little bit of Bethune-Cookman throwing in the towel.
And at this point, when you're down by 30, it's a tough one. Kayshawn Baker, who's found the end zone a couple of times. One time for Aggie Bright. Terry Sims is watching his team lose their 3rd game in a row, but this one was of great importance as they wanted to stay in the hunt for a trip to the Celebration Bowl. And next week they've got their in-state rival, Florida A&M, who is...
It always comes down to that. I don't care about Bethune-Cookman losing this game today. It's a one-game season for them. To beat Florida A&M, how many years in a row has Bethune-Cookman beaten Florida A&M? Tiffany Green, 8. Say it loud and clear. Enunciate.
No, 8 years in a row. I'm okay to say that they've beaten them. They have won the battle on the field. They were able to knock off Florida A&M, who wanted to get to the Celebration Bowl last year. This year, they're having a terrific season, not in position to do so with a postseason ban, but they could go undefeated. However, Bethune-Cookman could spoil things and go for a cool 9 in a row.
I mean, 8 victories in a row. I think we're doing it a disservice to call it a rivalry.
Well, historically now,
that's a one-side.
has
8 in a row. The rivalry's been gone a long time ago.
It remains. I think it remains, and it holds true. And here's why. Because folks in the state of Florida and graduates of both of these schools absolutely love that game. And so if there is no other game that you get up for during the regular season, you get up for that game.
But
and it is a rivalry,
but
so
me,
they treat it like that.
That's not fun going to a game when you know the outcome.
You don't necessarily know the outcome.
For the last 8 years, I've known that Bethune-Cookman was going to beat Florida.
No, you didn't, because I can tell you that last year it looked a little different, and then they were able. Who was it?
Like last year,
was it Vernon Walker who helped to close out the Florida Classic?
We're going to be there this week, but remember Coach Simmons saying everything. Oh, 7's a number of completion. We're going to complete it, and it's over with. The streak's over with. No. Bethune-Cookman sat there and said, you can say all you want, FAMU, but we see you in Orlando. That's it.
Well, we'll get a chance to see them next week as it's rivalry weekend, and A&T will go on to face
Central.
North Carolina Central,
nothing
the
better.
Eagle Classic. Here.
Central's beaten them the last couple years. They've won the majority of those. So A&T, we've seen them in this position before. North Carolina Central could care less what happened to this Bethune-Cookman game. They're going to want some of the Aggies next week here.
The 25th ranked team in FCS, North Carolina A&T, is 1 win away from getting back to the Celebration Bowl for a 3rd consecutive season with a convincing win over Bethune-Cookman, 47-17, as North Carolina A&T would not be denied today. The Aggies looking to three-peat and get back to the Celebration Bowl. They did their job.
Dominating performance, impressive performance, way to get back to basics. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They were the more physical football team. That's why they get the huge victory, and they're one step closer to the ATL.
Now, one of the reasons why is because Sam Washington decided to feed the rock to Jermaine Martin and others. 300 on the ground. That helped them take care care of business here from Greensboro. Aggie pride, they win it big, 47-17.
Yep.